Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pascack Clutch Podcast. Today, it's just two people. It's myself, Matthew Merlino, and my co-host, the only co-host for this episode, Sean Barry. Unfortunately, the rest of the crew unable to make it. It's a short week here at school, and everybody, or most people, are going on vacation. In Pascack Hills sports, we had our fall sports season end over the past week. The Bronco football team finished their season with another win. They finish at 8-2. A 28-19 win over Newark Eastside last Thursday finished their season. And then our Bronco volleyball team, who was by far one of the best fall sports teams in the Broncos stable, they lost in the state sectional quarterfinals 2-1 against Riverdale last Wednesday. So with that, fall sports is over. We look ahead to the winter sports here at PH. It would be basketball, wrestling, and hockey. Those are the main three sports, but of course there are some others, and we'll try to cover most, if not all of them, for you here on the Pascack Clutch Podcast. Big week of college football this past week, Sean. We had in the SEC a pretty big battle that nobody expected to be big coming into this year. Number 2 Georgia at home taking on number 12 Missouri. The Bulldogs coming out with a big win. It was Nazir Stackhouse with the interception at the end of the game, clinching a 30-21 win for the Bulldogs. They're still number 2 in the nation behind Ohio State, who got a big win over unranked Rutgers this week to keep them at number 1. If you can't tell, that's me being sarcastic. 30-21 the final there. Georgia now in the catbird seat for the SEC East.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also had our SEC West battle this week as well, which we'll get to in a moment. That was our game of the week. Carson Beck, 21 for 38, 2 touchdowns, 254 yards. The quarterback for Missouri, that is Cook, who I believe is a senior or a sophomore, I'm not sure. But he had not such a good game. 14-30, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. Of course, the one at the end clinching the game for the Bulldogs. So a big win there for Georgia. We had a shootout in the Pac-12 between number 5 Washington, who is still undefeated, now 9-0, and number 20 USC, who drops their third game of the year. 52-42 the final. Washington now looking like the team to beat in the Pac-12. Michael Penix Jr., 22 for 30, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, compared to Caleb Williams, 3 touchdowns, 312, 27 for 35. But Washington may be a dark horse, especially if Florida State falters, or if either Michigan or Ohio State
or a
wins
three-way
out.
tie.
Or a 3-way tie, yeah. Mm-hmm. But if there's a 3-way tie, I think it'll be 2 Big Ten teams. Or if they...
No, they'll probably still do 2 SEC teams, 1 Big Ten, and then they put in Washington.
Well, didn't they do Michigan and Ohio State last year?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's what I'm thinking. Georgia probably makes it. If Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, it'll be Georgia and Alabama. If Ohio State or Michigan wins out, then they put in whoever wins.
And then Florida State.
And then Florida State, unless they lose, then I think Washington goes in. But is that one loss for Florida State in a stronger ACC valued more than the undefeated Washington and a weaker Pac-12?
I feel like Washington has a stronger team than Florida State.
I agree, but we won't know because they don't play.
Mm-hmm.
So, big hypothetical questions that will probably get answered sooner rather than later. Big game for Texas and Kansas State in the Big 12. That was our big noon Saturday game of the week. In overtime, number 7 Texas with a big 33-30 win over number 23 Kansas State. That puts them at the top of the Big 12. They're tied with Oklahoma State in the conference, 5-1 in the conference. Texas takes the lead because they have the better overall record, 8-1. Oklahoma State is at 7-2. Big 12 shaping up to be a big conference, especially with Oklahoma State coming up.
And then Oklahoma lost.
And Oklahoma lost to Oklahoma State. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, big game there for Texas. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions for their quarterback. Kansas State quarterback balled out, 26 and 26 for 41, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Very big game for him. Maybe he's starting to go up some draft boards these next few years. He's a senior, so we'll see. Maybe he gets taken a bit higher than he was expecting. Game of the week last week for us was Alabama versus LSU. That was the big SEC West game. Of course, Ole Miss still in there, but the winner of that would have a big shot at going to Atlanta. It is Alabama. Jaden Milroe, 15 for 23, 219, but his big work coming on the ground. 20 carries, 155, 4 touchdowns in a quarterback duel that went Alabama's way all the way, it seems.
That game, yeah. Also, like with LSU, before the season, like the hype was real. Like even the
Jaden Daniels came back.
Even the QB Jaden Daniels. People are asking him why is he staying 1 year. He says to win a national championship, and now it's like,
yep.
What now?
You've lost 3 games to Florida State, Ole Miss, and Alabama.
And ESPN, like the hype for they were hyping up like the hype for LSU, but like was so much going this season, like if they were gonna like make the playoffs, and then that loss of Florida State just really
at the start of the year just knocked them down, and they didn't get back.
They played good in the first half in that game, but the second half they just stopped playing.
Yeah, they were tied at halftime, tied at the end of the third quarter. Excuse me, not at the end of the third quarter. They were tied at halftime though, but Alabama just pulled away, 42-28, the final. The last game, at least for the foreseeable future, in the Bedlam rivalry between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State with a big win. That means Oklahoma drops 2 straight. They lost to Kansas last week. They lose to their cross-state rivals in the Cowboys this week. 27-24 the final there. Bowman, the Oklahoma State quarterback, 334, 28 for 42, no touchdowns though. But Oklahoma State is a dark horse now for making the playoff. I don't think they make it unless they win the Big 12.
It's another year of Oklahoma missing out on the playoff once again, and this is the 4th year in a row they missed the playoff.
Yep. They haven't made it since Jalen Hurts, right?
Yep. And CD Lamb.
2019.
Yep, and CD Lamb.
Yeah.
They were a 4 seed, and they got absolutely crushed by Joe Burrow. The last time Burrow was there, too. That was the last time Oklahoma made the playoff.
Yep. That was a good playoff year, right? Because that was LSU. Oklahoma.
Even though LSU did blow in Oklahoma, I felt like that matchup would be a bit more closer because of Jalen Hurts, but LSU was just too good.
Yeah.
It was like the final score was like 56-28 LSU.
Well, that was the year LSU was pretty much unstoppable.
But then the other semifinal, Clemson Ohio State. Clemson won, and then they lost in the Natty.
That was a good playoff.
Yeah,
I like that one.
And then the year after that, the playoff was just blowouts.
Yeah, Alabama, Notre Dame.
Blowout. Ohio State blown out Clemson, and then Bama blown out Ohio State.
And Ohio State still can't win in the playoff.
The last time they won was Ezekiel Elliott, literally, and then a no win at QB.
2014.
Just like this year again.
First year.
Kyle McCord. I mean, no disrespect for him, but like he's kind of a no one because like.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Exactly.
Him. Isn't he a freshman?
Sophomore, junior, I forgot, but like. He's not like a big name. I mean, yeah, he's so good, but we consider him a no one because he's not a big name.
Because we didn't know him coming into this year.
But they have that they have that one big player, Marvin Harrison Jr., which I feel like
it's kind just of like Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this may be the Buckeyes' year. We'll just see.
We'll see.
If it is, Michael and Alex will be insufferable wherever they are.
See, I was fine with Ohio State, but now since of Michael and Alex. It's like,
well, we'll see what happens there. They probably make the playoff, but let's hope they get.
They make me don't want to like them.
Yeah, well, and the loss to Notre Dame, I'm sure, didn't help. Speaking of Notre Dame, they had another big loss against unranked Clemson, 31-23 in Death Valley.
If I'm being honest, they need a new coach. Marcus Freeman's so bad.
Yeah, this guy. It's only his second year, right?
And bro. When Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman was like the defensive coordinator, and they just brought him up. He's not good.
This guy is not the answer for Notre Dame. Not even close.
I know.
Not good at all. Not good at all. Last game that we'll talk about, Arizona with a big upset, 27-10 over UCLA, and the team coming into the year, I think they started the year 0-3, is now ranked in the bottom 20s. So a big win there for the Wildcats, and UCLA ends their hopes of probably making a good bowl game. Speaking of our college football playoff rankings, no changes in the top 8, meaning Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, and Florida State all still at in the top 4 in the playoff positions right now. Washington, the only other undefeated team in the rankings, at number 5. Then Oregon, Texas, and Bama still. Ole Miss up 1, and Penn State up 1 to 9 and 10.
So 1's Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
2 is
2 is Georgia, 3 Michigan, 4 Florida State.
All right. The playoff ended today. I can see Florida State, Ohio State being a good game, but I don't know. I feel like Georgia and Michigan will still be close.
Georgia would probably blow them out of the water, because if TCU blew out Michigan last year,
Oh yeah, I guess so.
What's Georgia going to do?
Don't forget about Bama.
Exactly.
Bama actually, I got alert after the playoff games. Bama felt disrespected.
No one cares if they feel disrespected. You've had your time.
What's their ranking right now?
They're number 8 in the playoff.
And Penn State's 9.
Penn State is number 10. Ole Miss is number 9. So that's a big game coming up that we'll talk about. But our game of the week in college football this week, number 3 Michigan, number 10 Penn State, big noon, Saturday on Fox. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt on the call, as we like it. Our picks for our friends who are not here today, Sam and Michael both picking Michigan. Alex, the lone to pick Penn State so far. Sean, what do you got here? Penn State, Michigan, and it's pretty even. The spread, Michigan favored by 5. They're on the road.
Are they still? They're still invested.
Still undefeated.
No, but the whole stealing sign thing.
It's still happening, still ongoing. They fired the guy who was supposed to be responsible, but I mean, they're big favorites on the road, Michigan.
Yeah.
Penn State, of course, with their one loss coming to Ohio State.
Penn State needs a win, though. But, like, the teams I picked so far that I want to win have always lost.
Yep.
So, I guess I'm going to go with Michigan.
That's a good call. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do as well.
I want Penn State to win, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Michigan there. Some other games to look at. Florida State facing a pretty big challenge in Miami. At home, though, and favored by 14, so it shouldn't be too bad for them still. Excuse me. The Hurricanes, with a few big wins, we'll see how they can do against the currently number 4 team in the nation. And a big matchup in the SEC. Ole Miss at number 9, heading into Athens to take on number 2 Georgia. Georgia favored by 10.5. But still, some pretty big implications there because Ole Miss and Bama fighting for that SEC West crown. But it looks like Bama's going to take it. In Major League Baseball, the season came to an end in 5 games. The Texas Rangers with a 5-0 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks to win their first World Series title ever. They had a 6-5 win in Game 1, a 3-1 win in Game 3, an 11-7 win in Game 4, and as we mentioned, a 5-0 win in Game 5. They lost 9-1 in Game 2. That was the Diamondbacks' only win. Rangers with a big win, and all the Mets fans who aren't here can cry because DeGrom and Scherzer both got rings after leaving, even though they barely played.
Yep.
So very nice there. Me and Sam both got 2 points off of that because we picked the Rangers in 5. Everybody picked the Rangers except Michael, who said he didn't care. So he is now last out of all of our pickers. He He missed out on an easy point there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did. And then to the NFL in Frankfurt this weekend on Sunday morning for us, Sunday evening for them. The Chiefs with a dominant win, 21-14 over Miami. Miami still showing as frauds.
Yeah. I don't know what's on with Miami, but, like, they can beat other teams, but when they play actual good teams, like, they can't win.
Yep. They're, 0-3 now against teams
They're
500
also the
or better?
Bills. They're also the Eagles, and now, they lost to the Chiefs.
0-3 against teams over 500. It's incredible.
And these are teams that they could possibly face in the playoffs and Super Bowl.
Mahomes, only 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, Tua with 193 yards and 1 touchdown in that win for Kansas City. You did pick Miami along with Sam and Michael. They were all three of you were wrong. Alex and I both picked the Chiefs, and we'll talk about those rankings in a minute. Josh Dobbs, the big acquisition for the Vikings after Kirk Cousins went down with an Achilles injury. He's out for the year. Dobbs comes in with no practice pretty much, only about 3 days worth of practice. Comes in, leads the Vikings on a comeback drive to win 31-28. Of course, it's against the Falcons.
I feel like the Vikings are the dark horse in the NFL now with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, well, I mean, he comes from Arizona, who didn't expect him to start, I don't think, with Kyler Murray.
But Minnesota, like, they're definitely a better team.
I mean,
I
Justin
feel like
Jefferson,
they
have talent.
I feel like they could do something in the playoffs if they make it.
Well, I don't know. Last year they were pretty big frauds, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I agree with you. Kind of a dark horse.
They're
only 5-4 right now.
It feels like Case Keenum again in Minnesota.
It kind of does. And don't forget that Minneapolis miracle that happened. What's it now? 5 years ago? 6 years ago? I think it's 5.
Happened in 2018. Yeah,
5 years ago. Your Giants losing to the Raiders. Raiders' first game without Josh McDaniels. First game with Antonio Pierce, the interim coach. 30-6 the final in Las Vegas. The Giants with their 7th loss of the year. Tommy DeVito, the man from Don Bosco, up here in North Jersey. 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 15 for 20. After Daniel Jones went down, he tore his ACL, so he is out for the year now. Probably a very bad thing for the Giants to be paying him $40 million for about 3 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
Just, what do you have to say for your team?
I don't even know, man. I mean, if I'm being honest, like, DeVito, like, at least he's just trying his best, and he's happy. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore about this team. It's a Mickey Mouse team.
Not good. Not good at all. Aiden O'Connell in his second start, I believe, with the Raiders. His first as the official starter, because they said whenever Garoppolo comes back, he's going to be benched. O'Connell, 16 for 25, 209 yards, no touchdowns. Raiders play the Jets. We'll talk about that soon. The Eagles with a big win over their divisional rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, 28-23. Dak Prescott, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dak played a good game, but the Eagles,
it's the same thing.
Unstoppable, except for that game against the Jets.
I know, but for Dallas, it's the same thing every year.
Same thing every year.
It's the same.
They're probably going to be like a 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs.
I know.
If you're being honest, they're still 5-3.
Wait.
I mean, same thing every year. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to lose first or second round.
And then ESPN, all these things, they always talk about the same thing going into each season and during the season. They're always like, can Dak Prescott shine in the moment?
Exactly. Or Tony Romo or whoever the Cowboys.
It's like this. You guys are talking like even like 2 years ago you were talking about it, and now you still are.
All they do is just talk about the Cowboys. Say, is this their year? And it hasn't been. It hasn't been for 30 years.
And Dak can
They haven't been good since Troy Aikman. They haven't won a playoff game.
And Dak could, and then they talk about can Dak go into the Super Bowl?
Or
No,
made
he
an
can't.
NFC Championship game. Sorry,
Huh.
but my God, Just
And they talk about, can Dak lead them to Super Bowl?
think about.
No, they can't.
Remember that rookie year that Dak had?
That was his
Great
only
year?
good season.
Exactly, his only good year with
And then they
Zeke,
lose in divisional.
and they lose in the divisional
still had
to a Packers
They still had
team.
Des Bryant back
And
then.
they still
That
it was like the old and the new Cowboys, but still
it was
couldn't
like
get
half
past the
and half.
divisional round.
Because of one man, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, who may be coming back. We'll talk about that a little bit. Sunday Night Football this past week was the Bengals against the Bills. Pretty good matchup in the AFC, but the Bills not good with their result. 24-18, the Bengals take the win. Burrow 348, 2 touchdowns. Allen 258, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
The Bengals dynasty's over.
Did they have a dynasty?
No, not the dynasty, but just like
The reign.
their reign right now in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl window.
Well, Miami, even with the loss to Kansas City, is now the AFC East divisional leaders. And if the Jets won against the Chargers, then we would only be a half game back, and on Black Friday that would be for the divisional lead.
Like, the Bills had so many great opportunities to go to the. They could have went to Super Bowl 55. They could have went to Super Bowl 56 and 57, and
It's
they missed
the Bills.
out on all those three.
They missed out on everything,
And yeah, they're probably gonna lose again in divisional round this year in the playoffs.
or even the wild
I
card.
know. They almost lost to damn Skylar, whatever, Thompson, the backup to the Dolphins.
Mhm.
They only won by 3, 34-31.
And then they let the Bengals come in when it's snowing,
And they
and they just got destroyed.
No, I was so hyped because like, I thought it was gonna be like even the Bills, bro. Like, we could have had a neutral site game in Atlanta. Bills Chiefs AFC Championship game in the dome. We don't have to deal with any work conditions. That game would have went to over. That game would have been amazing.
Well, probably would have been flashbacks for those Bills fans a few years ago.
Yeah, I know, but like neutral site AFC Championship game, that would have been awesome. But
I agree.
Nope.
But no, can't have nice things. Can't have nice things. Monday Night Football, we'll barely talk about it because I don't want to. Chargers big win over the Jets, 27-6. All the Jets fans who went to MetLife coming home. 1 a.m. in the morning? Yeah, don't do that. Just watch it at home. Listen to Troy Aikman burn into Zach Wilson. Had a pretty good game, though, Zach. Herbert, 136 yards, barely over 500. Zach Wilson, 33 for 49, 263 yards. Just no offense, no scoring. Only Zerline with 2 field goals, 46 and 47 yards. The only scoring for the Jets in a game against a team that we need to beat if we want to make the playoffs.
Jets can beat the Eagles, but the Chargers.
But not the Chargers. That's how it was. Remember, we beat the Bengals, but we lost to the Raiders a few years back. Remember that?
Yeah.
When it was Zach's rookie year. And Mike White was playing those games. Please come back. We need you. I can't deal with Zach Wilson or Tim Boyle.
See, no, I don't. I want to ask the GM for the Jets. I know you can probably roast on the Giants about this, but I'm just curious. Why did they pick Zach Wilson over Justin Fields?
I'm not sure. Why did we win that game against the Raiders to move up? Because if we lost to the Raiders, then we probably would have had the number 1 pick, and we could have gotten Trevor Lawrence.
Oh no, I think that was the Rams.
Rams. Sorry, Rams, not the Raiders. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got Lawrence and Garrett Wilson right now. Wow.
Think about that. Lawrence, Breece Hall, Garrett
That's
Wilson.
a Super Bowl team right there.
Exactly.
Oh.
Or Aaron Rodgers if he comes back.
Even if he did have Justin Fields right now, I think that could, it might be the same scenario, but I feel like you'll have a better chance to win.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I think he didn't tear his Achilles. Like, to come back that quickly, what has it been? 2 months since he tore his Achilles? Just about. And now he's, like, throwing. I know he's not, like, in the pocket running around.
What, so it's scripted?
Yeah, I think it was a
So
little
they
bit.
have the Jets win the Super Bowl.
No, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're just going to have hope, and then it's taken away from them in the wild
script?
card round. Yeah. Or we just don't make the playoffs because he comes back too late. But how is it possible? I know it's modern science. And
Well,
I know he's probably on
the Achilles
drugs.
injury, it's natural. So, like,
I know, but
you can
still,
technically,
it's torn Achilles. You're out for the year, as we've seen with all these others. But look at the injury. He just
Kirk Cousins is
he
not
just
coming.
sits down on the ground.
It's November. It's not like 2 months from now. Kirk Cousins is gonna come back.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen somebody's Achilles pop or tear, but it didn't look like to me like what would happen if your Achilles popped or teared. What Rodgers did on Monday Night Football. He just sat down, rolled over. And
I know. I even saw the replay. To me,
then it seemed a bit weird.
I even saw the replay. How do you torn your Achilles?
Yeah. To me, then it seemed a bit weird, and to me now it seems a lot weirder. But if he comes back, that's fine with me, because then I can actually start liking football again.
Now, should the Jets draft another QB this draft?
Yeah, we're getting Caleb Williams, and then we'll trade him to the Giants for a 6th-round pick when he sucks ass. Game of the week next week in the NFL, Niners at Jaguars. It's a pretty bad week, if I'm being honest. That's 1 o'clock on Fox. All of the national games this week in the NFL are really, really bad.
They've been bad for like the last couple of weeks.
We have Thursday Night Football. We have Carolina at Chicago.
And then they have another Germany game.
Yeah, the Munich or Frankfurt game or wherever it is in Deutschland is Indianapolis against New England.
Mac Jones and Gardner
America's Game of the Week on Fox is the Giants against Dallas.
What?
Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Sunday Night Football is the Jets at the Raiders, and then Monday Night Football is the Broncos at the Bills. Who is making this schedule?
The Cowboys are going to crush the Giants so bad.
It's going to be like 50 How is that
America's Game of the Week on Fox? Why do you not put
San Francisco at Jacksonville?
They're going to have the main Fox crew.
I know it's going to be.
It's not even going to be a close game.
I know they're gonna have to do like cutaways.
Nah, watch DeVito ball out.
DeVito balls out, becomes a New York legend.
Nah, low-key, I feel like they could be. I feel like
that's your delusion getting to you, Sean.
No, hold up. You're 2-7 right now. The Cowboys beat you by 40. You come to Bill with DeVito. And Pussy, if you're DeVito, you're the starting QB for this team for the Giants from your state. Don't you want to come into your rivals' territory and beat them?
I agree.
Exactly.
That's what. It's not going to happen.
Nah, it could though.
It's not going to happen.
If they just do
if that happens, I'm going to say
just do like short passes
if the Giants win, if the Giants win and DeVito has a good game, the NFL.
Clearly, if I could be the Giants head coach for this game and do the play calling on offense and maybe defense too, I think the Giants could win.
Get your Madden play.
I know, Sean. Literally,
it's time.
I'll
Who needs Brian Dable? We got Sean Barry. Yeah, so Niners at Jaguars. Niners are favored by 3, even though it's in Jacksonville.
They have Giants winning in the script. That's why it's America's Game of the Week.
And, so Sam and Alex both picked the Niners. Michael picked Jacksonville. Sean, what do you got? Niners favored by 3 on the road.
I'm going to pick Niners because they need a win.
It's fair. I'm going to go with the Niners as well. Because, as you said, they're coming off, 3 straight losses now?
Yeah.
With just Purdy, no one else. So it's very interesting. In terms of our records, I'm 1 half game above Alex. I'm 10-2. Alex is 9-2. Then Sean is 3rd at 7-4. Sam is 4th at 7-5. And Michael in last at 6-4. So congrats, Sam. You're finally not last. With that, I think it'll be over because we don't want to talk about the Giants and the Jets against the Raiders because those games are not going to be good, even though I'm going to have to watch Sunday Night Football this weekend. It's not going to go well, I don't think.
For the Raiders are probably going to win if I'm being honest.
I swear to God, if we lose to the Raiders, it's not
I think you are.
We probably will, but I swear to God, it's just going to be really bad for me. The 2 McKays that are going to come in, they're going to be insufferable next week if we lose. I swear to God, it's not going to go well.
Bro, you saw what the Raiders' defense against DeVito. Now they're doing Zach Wilson. What's the difference?
I agree. The difference is we have Garrett Wilson and you don't.
We have Waller.
Waller is not the same as Garrett Wilson. We also have Breece Hall.
But it's the one Zach Wilson.
You have Saquon
But it's Zach Wilson throwing the ball, though.
That's true. Aaron Rodgers comes out of the tunnel on Sunday Night Football. Watch.
No.
I'm surprised the NFL didn't flex that out.
I'm surprised the Jets didn't try to get Josh Dobbs.
That's a good point. Point. Well, I think it's because the coach is he's too confident in Zach.
Why would you be too confident?
Because the coach is stupid.
Like, he's
His
not
game
good,
plans
bro.
don't work. We need to get rid of this Salah guy.
Zach Wilson is so bad.
I know. He's a worse quarterback in the league. Probably worse than this new
Darnold's
DeVito.
better than him.
I know.
Like, if you guys had Darnold, you guys would be better. Like,
It's incredibly stupid what's going on because the Jets just can't have a good
even if you
quarterback.
had Fields, too.
Yeah.
Fields could get space to run, throw the ball. Like, they were teammates. They'll really ball out.
I know. Justin Fields and Garrett
I
Wilson.
know. But what? You chose Zach Wilson, who
You
went to
chose Zach
BYU.
Uh-huh.
And so Justin Fields, who made the playoffs
Fields.
and played in the Natty.
Or, as we said earlier, what you could have done is not win against the Rams and then pick Trevor Lawrence.
No.
What ifs are very unfortunate for a New York Jets fan. That's why I don't think about it that much.
Why did they went out on that Rams game? It's like
because Gase knew he was getting fired.
Why did he even?
Gase knew he was getting fired, so he wanted to say shove it when he left.
Why did the Jets even sign this Adam Gase guy in the first place?
I don't know. The Jets are just stupid right now. We've had like a few good drafts, but we can't do anything with it because
where is Adam Gase now?
Stinks. I think he's like the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach.
Like the Jets, they had good pieces around their team for the draft, but they can't just finish it.
We have a good draft. We have a good training camp. We have a good preseason. Once we get to the regular season, it all goes away. It all blows up. And that's the life of a New York Jets fan.
And Dalvin Cook's not doing it.
And Dalvin Cook gets 10 plays per game, -5 yards total. It's incredible. The only reason he's there is to give Breece Hall a break. Okay, that's enough talking about the Jets. I think we're done here. We've talked about enough football today. Thanks for joining us here on the Pascack Clutch podcast. For Sam, Alex, and Michael, who aren't here, for Sean Barry, who joined me, I'm Matthew Merlino. So long. We'll see you next Wednesday.